Foolishness. It is said that foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but I tell you truly, foolishness is bound in every heart. We live in an age of foolishness. Why? Because human society has begun to deny its most virtuous reality, and that is, there is a reason for life. We come from something. There is a plan behind it all, which presupposes there must be a planner. There is a designer. Interestingly, in the year 2004, famed atheist Anthony Flew, at the age of 81, finally acknowledged, after being the forebearer responsible for a new age of atheistic philosophy and belief and the popularization of atheism through best-selling books in our modern time, he came to the place when he had to admit there must be a designer. The arguments, the scientific evidence led him to that position. Now, he's not a Christian, he's not a Muslim, he's not a Jew, he's unclear about the nature of this intelligent design and who designs it, but he is a deist. He believes in a divinity, a God. Think about it. Since this has happened, there's an unusual quietude on the part of atheistic evolution and atheistic communism. Best-selling book by British journalist Christopher Hitchens speaks about the issues and the damage done by religion in world society. He likes to point to the wars. He likes to point to the conflicts. Look what religion has done. Look what Christianity has accomplished. This religion of fools. This religion of space people. Gods in the outer ether. How silly. How foolish. And hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of American young people, high school and college age, have been on the process of indoctrination with these atheistic ideas. But don't give up, because a new day is coming. We still have ancient truth through which we can see the future. I would like to suggest, without this truth that comes from the wisdom of the past, we cannot understand where we are going. If you don't know where you've come from, you're not going to get to your destination. It's as simple as that. Christopher Hitchens' best-selling book about his disbelief in God has been countered by another book published recently, The Rage Against God: How Atheism Brought Me Back to Faith. Hitchens has a brother. They both embraced this anti-God point of view many decades ago. One remains an atheist, but his brother Peter has a new book where he dispels the notion of atheism. He embraces Christianity once again, and I highly recommend it. Peter Hitchens is the author. The name of the book, How Atheism Brought Me to Belief in God. And so it should. For if there is no God, we are madmen with no hope. Listen to the words of the Almighty, taken from the book of Job in the Old Testament record. Job chapter 38, reading from verse 1. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone when the stars were made? And all my angels praised me in a loud voice. These questions cannot be answered by men, though we may try. In fact, the Word of God makes it clear that those who are fools for the world's sake are empty in their reasoning. There is no wisdom. Is it any wonder, then, that there's so much violence in our society, so much criminality, such widely published claims of social experimentation, where people of the same gender are marrying one another and it's accepted as normal behavior based upon feelings and emotions and attitudes of love and belonging? Of course, belonging and attitudes of love are important, My position here is not to get into that debate, but rather to suggest that these climatic changes in modern society as a result of a continuing disbelief in God. There is no reason for anything. Therefore, we develop our own means of reasoning. In the book of Romans chapter 1, St. Paul the Apostle speaks about natural law. Does not nature itself teach you certain things? Can we not know there is a designer when we look at the things that he designed? As a young man, my father, a New England Yankee, having retired from teaching at a local college in order to be a plumber because he found more wisdom in working with his hands than the foolishness he encountered. An interesting proposition. He called me to him one day and he said, "Son, I want you to spit as high as you possibly can." "As high as I can," I said. "Dad, what do you mean?" He said, "Look up over your head and I want you to spit toward the sky. See how high you can spit." So, being a dutiful New England son, I said, "Okay, Dad, I'll try." Well, it wasn't too hard. You know, you go through a certain action and motion, and I was able to raise within my mouth what was necessary to spit. I spit into the air, and of a sudden, the spit came down and hit me on the head. My father smiled, and he said, "What did you learn?" I said, "I learned if I spit over my head, it's going to fall in my face." He said, "Don't forget, if ever you turn away from belief in God, you are a foolish man, spitting at God, not realizing that the spittle aimed toward heaven will hit you in the face." An interesting metaphor for the age in which we live. We need wisdom from the past to understand our future destiny. That wisdom is bound up in this book, the living, abiding, eternal Word of God. I recommend it to you. Whatever problems you face in life, if you struggle in your belief, know that there are answers that make sense not only to the human intellect, but even more importantly, to the human spirit. This is the wisdom I speak of. So don't be swallowed and gobbled up by atheistic philosophies. It is a bankrupt way of looking at life. And that's what it means to be a fool. Do not be foolish in the ways of the world. Be foolish in the ways of Christ. And I'll talk more about that on another occasion. Thank you for your kind attention.